Guns capable of firing several hundred rounds in a few minutes. The Turks with their Winchesters at the siege of Plevna. I don't know what he sees in guns. I would normally make a plant-based double entendre at this point. I've got no idea what to say, to be honest. Oh, hi! How did the audition go?
I don't want to talk about it.
Hello and welcome to episode 10. Yay!
Hey.
Double figures! Yay! Of Review to a Kill. My name's James and I'm a big James Bond fan.
My name's Tom. I don't know anything about James Bond.
And he's just a fashion guru. That's how he always dresses.
I'm watching these films for the first time.
He is watching these films for the first time. And every episode, we analyse a different film from the series from the perspective of someone who's seen it a million times before and someone who is a first-time watcher. Although, to be fair, he's throwing himself into it, as you can see. Do you know what? I was a bit worried about this T-shirt. I wasn't sure it fitted right, but now I feel a bit better now. I'm sort of...
Shall I explain? Should we just get this out?
Go on.
Yeah. Thank you to my good friends Phil and Stevie who chanced across this incredible outfit. I got the wig. This is a wig, by the way.
Well, you say that.
Yeah. I got that, but and I got the tie, and I can't
Even
move.
the shoes. Show the shoes.
Well, that's it.
Slip
We've got
on.
two of them.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you didn't get the part, it can't be the way you were dressed.
I know.
I mean, you were... I don't know what Barbara and Michael were thinking, to be honest. Anyway.
No.
There we are. So, if you would like to contact us here, we always want to hear from you. Please leave a comment below this video, or you can send us a message on that there Twitter on @ReviewKillShow, and there will be a special behind the scenes video of Tom walking into the room dressed like that and my reaction, which will go up very shortly on our Twitter feed. So @ReviewKillShow. Now, before we get to this episode, we'd like to go back and take a look at the previous episode. That jacket is way too small. I'm trying to do the show here.
I'm sorry.
So, we like to go back to previous episodes and we like to get your feedback on our last episode, which was The Man with the Golden Gun. So it's time for Feedback Corner.
Oh,
nice.
That didn't really work, did it?
No, I like it. To be honest, compared to the suit, it's a triumph. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Love it. Should we do some feedback?
Well, I'd love to.
Okay. Gary Robinson. Thank you, Gary, for your message. He says, this is all talking about The Man with the Golden Gun. He says, I love this movie. It's grown on me immensely over time. It's fun and doesn't take itself too seriously, like my co-presenter. It has all the tropes I want in a Bond movie. I also love Diamonds Are Forever and Goldfinger. Well, you can see which movie Tom's fashion sartorial sense has been influenced by, and it's not Goldfinger. You're right there. It's quite warm in here.
Quite sweaty.
Yeah. We're not going to get through this, are we?
I'm going to try my best to keep the wig on.
Okay, fine.
See how it goes.
Bits are going to be coming off all the way through the evening. Robert Crook says, well done. Yes.
He's
contacted us before, Robert Crook says, well done. Missed the douches. Did we not douche the last one?
We didn't do them. No, we'll
we
have to do that this time.
Yeah, we'll have to do. Sorry.
Yes.
Not douching. Not that.
Yeah.
It was a highlight. Most disappointing of Roger's Bonds.
Yeah.
He says, Man with the Golden Gun. One of my least favourite films. Always found it a bit dull. Don't think it's aged well. Felt rushed after Live and Let Die, and perhaps it shows. I think that's probably a fair point. Slide whistle on the car loop was awful.
Yeah.
Which I think we can all agree with. And he also says he's been to James Bond Island, which was a real treat, although it was packed with tourists.
No.
I'd like to go there one day. If someone would like to sponsor me to go, that would be lovely. If someone can sponsor me and pay for me to go, I will wear that on the beach at James Bond Island. There you are. Triforce of Kaz, who has spoken to us before.
Yeah.
Says, great episode again. Thank you. Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This one sits near the bottom for me. It's not the worst Bond film, but it's definitely in the I don't really like this one tier. They got the more era tone right in the next one, which of course is the one we'll be discussing tonight. So stay tuned. In regards to the slide whistle travesty, and I don't think that's too strong a word, I recall hearing that the reason they put it there was because the stunt was so impressive and seemingly impossible, they thought people wouldn't believe it was a real stunt and it would come off as corny rather than impressive, so they decided to play it comically and to play it safe with the slide whistle. If true, that was a bad mistake. I agree, Triforce of Kaz. We don't like the slide whistle.
No.
We're
I even demonstrated. We tried with it. It was really quick, but I did a little edit with JW just going like that.
Yeah. Better. Yeah. Tom can just edit the next Bond film. Barbara and Michael, if he's not cast, his editing is available to you. Wiltshire Writing says simply...
That's my sister.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, hello, Tom's sister.
Yeah, it's Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Says, loving Threads Watch.
Yeah.
And now you have the physical embodiment of Threads Watch.
Yes.
You know, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wonderful thing. And we have heard from the official nice person... Nice. Official nice person. Queenie Colombo, who says one of the least exciting Bond films with the worst Bond song and an annoying Bond girl. Apart from that, she really liked it. Goodnight used to make me laugh, but now I find myself rolling my eyes at her. That's probably a fair comment. Positives for me are the 70s scenery, particularly Scaramanga's place, very stylish. It was the best stunt involving the Hornet, which I think we all agreed, the car doing the flip. The absolute best thing about The Man with the Golden Gun is the exquisite Christopher Lee.
Yes.
Which I think we would all agree with. And that was... Feedback Corner.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But I've just got a little bit, actually.
Oh, sorry. Please, go ahead. I didn't realize you had any, because I was so obsessed with the suit. I couldn't think about anything else.
It was just that I did meet up with some friends, Paul and Joe, hi guys, and I saw their kids, Bob and Tom, who are 8 and 10.
Right.
So I believe, now we know we've got one known viewer in their 80s.
Yes. Good evening, Mrs. Wallace. Betty, hello.
We also, I think we've got 2 little lads, 8 and 10, who are watching us. So
Excellent.
I did say, watch out, because we do swear a bit. We might say stuff like bum pellets or piss whistle or shitty
like
shoe bastard. You know, so
mouth like a sewer, this one.
do not repeat those words. That was bum pellets, piss whistle, and shitty shoe bastard.
Yeah, do not say those words. Don't go to school tomorrow.
Okay, but
and
thanks
say
for
those
watching,
words.
guys.
Yeah, thank you. So our youngest viewer is 8 and our oldest is 81. Are we appealing to anyone in between? Or just at those extremes? Anyway, there we are. That probably says an awful lot about us. Anyway, that was this week's Feedback Corner. Lovely. Richard Claderman on my left. This episode, we are going to be talking about The Spy Who Loved Me.
I was trying to think which bit of the song. It's about to start going, nobody does. No, that's not the title.
No, not yet.
Right.
Now, one thing we need to say, as we do at the beginning of every episode, there will be
Submarines
and
spoilers.
So if you haven't seen The Spy Who Loved Me, and frankly, why not if you haven't, but if you haven't seen The Spy Who Loved Me, please stop us now, go off and watch the movie, and then come back, because otherwise we will ruin this movie for you, and we don't want to do that.
No.
So we're going to talk about The Spy Who Loved Me, which, on Tom's French chart, to introduce a little...
Mind that cable.
I will mind this
knackered
cable.
that up last time.
Did I? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if I turn around,
I
people
know.
can't hear me. Is a mic control, darling? I'm a professionally trained broadcaster, you know. Well, I say that. The Spy Who Loved Me on Tom's French chart, a little objet d'art in the corner of the studio here, is... Oh, hold on. This looks like quite a complicated one. Bear with me. I'm not a French speaker. I don't know if you knew that. L'espion qui m'aimait.
What?
L'espion.
Lesbian what?
No, not lesbian. L'espion, good evening to our 8-year-old viewer. L'espion qui m'aimait. L'espion qui m'aimait.
Okay.
There we are. Very good.
Very
That's
good.
I always like to add a little à quelle ferme le tabac into the proceedings. So there we are.
Like it.
There we are. That's anyway. It's The Spy Who Loved Me that we are talking about now. While Tom recovers from that suit, I will give some basic information about this film. And that will just be some basic information about the background of this film, how it was made, and all the rest of it. And we shall then proceed seamlessly to the font of all knowledge where Bond is concerned.
Yeah.
Are magnificent and not at all falling apart.
It's been a bit,
a
little bit neglected since the last episode.
It's not. It's sort of like, you know, when a car needs just a little bit of work to get it through the MOT. It's a bit like that, isn't it? It needs a bit of anyway. The BondBoard will be consulted for its opinion later in the show. So, a bit of basic information about The Spy Who Loved Me, while you sit there and perspire heavily. Here we go. This is the 10th movie in the series, and it's Roger Moore's 3rd appearance as Bond. He looks a bit more comfortable, I think, in the role. That I hope you enjoyed the show line. I think he's very much comfortable and into the role now. A bit like you are with that suit. I can tell how much you're loving that. On the subject of clothes, shall we do Threads Watch?
Threads Watch.
We have some excellent threads in
Yeah.
this movie, don't we? So I've made a little list. I'm not sure, maybe you've picked up some other ones, but I mean, it starts right at the beginning. We've got the faster gun barrel sequence, a really fast walk across, faster music, with mega flares on the gun barrel sequence. Good flares. I mean, like... really good flares. Better than those. Huge flares, we've got a two-piece suit that he wears in Egypt. Once again, with the shoulder things on. Lovely touch.
Yes.
Which he then teams with a blue shirt with an immense collar.
Yeah.
And a vast stripy blue tie you could land a jumbo jet on.
Lovely stuff.
Just beautiful.
Magnificent.
I mean, kids, if you're watching, hassle your parents, get those clothes.
Yes.
It's beautiful. On the train, he's taken inspiration from you because he's gone for a light brown suit with a brown shirt and a brown stripy tie.
Yeah.
Which, just look
Brown enough for you.
Exactly. Plenty of polyester and nylon going on there. Just the thing you need in Egypt, isn't it, that? Also, when he's meeting Stromberg, we have the navy blazer and large white flared trousers, which are just beautiful. So, was there anything else? I think that was basically... I mean, that's a lot of
The best
wardrobe.
one.
Go on.
The ski suit at the beginning.
Oh, of course. I forgot about the ski suit.
You're going to ski in style.
Yeah.
In the most style possible.
And you don't want to be a target, so obviously you wear a bright yellow ski suit because you're an undercover secret agent.
Yeah.
So you blend into the white backgrounds in a bright yellow ski suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful thing. And that was, with Tom joining in, Threads Watch.
Threads Watch.
I like the way you've combined Threads Watch and Wig Watch, by the way. Oh, no, that's not a wig, obviously, is it? Sorry. No, what am I saying? Right, anyway, information about The Spy Who Loved Me. The cast. We have... Yes, you can have some wine. You must be parched. Right, the cast. We have Barbara Bach as Triple X, Major Anya Amasova. She was only cast 4 days before principal photography began.
Really?
Yeah, and in fact, she performed her audition thinking she was just going to get a tiny supporting role in the film. Catherine Deneuve was approached, she was too expensive, and Lois Charles was approached, but she was in the next movie, which we will talk about in our next episode. We have Kurt Jürgens, German actor, as Stromberg, and we have Richard Kiel, of course, as Jaws, one of the most famous protagonists in the whole of the Bond series. We'll talk about him a bit later. We also have the return of Bond regulars Bernard Lee as M, Lois Maxwell as Moneypenny, who this time gets to go to Cairo and sit at a desk. And we have Desmond Llewellyn as Q, who is referred to in this movie as Major Boothroyd, which is his proper name.
Yes.
His proper name and title. Which
Did you see that video I sent you?
Are we allowed to talk about that sort of thing on the show?
It's a video of the real Boothroyd.
My name's Geoffrey Boothroyd. I'm not Major Boothroyd. but I do share with the Major an interest in firearms.
Testing out different
Oh
caliber
yes,
guns.
yes. And
From the BBC archive.
my friend the Wizard of Ice on Twitter shared that as well. So go to the Wizard of Ice and see it as well.
Yeah.
Well, we can always forward it on
Yeah,
our
unloading rounds into cans of
tomato
tomatoes.
cans. Yeah, in the name of science.
Yeah.
That would have been a science lesson I could have got involved with at school. I'll be honest. So we will share that on our Twitter feed, which is @ReviewKillShow or X, whatever it's called now. Twitter, X, shitter, whatever.
Makes a jolly good can opener, but not practical for Bond, so it's the Volta for him.
Right, we've got several good supporting characters in this movie. The first appearance of Walter Gotell as General Gogol. First of his 6 appearances in the series as the KGB chief who is more sympathetic to the West.
Yeah.
That was really designed to try and appeal to the Russian audience.
Yeah.
So that the Russians just weren't the baddies every time.
Yeah.
Walter Gotell was in From Russia with Love, of course.
I remember.
Yes, he was a Spectre baddie in that movie. I forget the name off the top of my head. First appearance also in this movie of Geoffrey Keane, an old friend of Roger Moore's, as Frederick Grey, the Minister of Defence. He also went on to be in 6 different Bond films. And there is also a small part here for Robert Brown as Admiral Hargreaves at the start, one of the naval admirals. Remember him for later films. I'll say no more. We've also got George Baker as Captain Benson, who was Sir Hilary Bray in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and also provided the voice for all the times Bond was pretending to be Sir Hilary Bray. We've got Brian Marshall as captain of the HMS Ranger, the British submarine, described memorably as a man who used to be in the Oneidin line, which we will come back to as well a little later on. Fekesh, a small part for an actor, Jordanian British actor called Nadim Sawala, who is Julia Sawala's father.
Oh.
Yeah. We've also got Edward D'Souza as Hussein in the tent in Cairo. He went on to be in One Foot in the Algarve. He was Mrs. Warboy's boyfriend.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that's him. Also, you know, we talked about Charles Gray in the Diamonds Are Forever episode and what an amazing mellifluous voice he has, that extraordinary voice. He is the voice at the pyramids doing the voice of the sun god Ra and all that kind of stuff.
And the voice of the desert has crossed the centuries.
That's Charles Gray, yeah. Right, a few other notable people in the cast. Shane Rimmer, who was Tom in Diamonds Are Forever and had a brief part in You Only Live Twice, is Commander Carter in this movie. A much bigger part for him. He again was an old friend of Roger Moore's. One of the crewmen on the HMS Ranger is Jeremy Bulloch, who went on to be in other Bond films, pops up in Smithers and some of the other Bond films. And also, of course, he was Boba Fett.
Oh.
Actual Boba Fett.
Right.
That's him, yeah. And, most impressively of all, Kevin McNally got his first role, a tiny little role, as a crewman on the HMS Ranger. He went on to be Gibbs in Pirates of the Caribbean, but you would know him, and he's most famous, and his career highlight, in my opinion, he's the sex shop owner in Bottom.
Yes. Yeah.
Can I help you, sir? That's him. So anyway,
£5 worth, please.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, he pops up in it as well. Right, this particular movie, The Spy Who Loved Me, directed by Lewis Gilbert, who had directed You Only Live Twice 10 years previously. There was talk. Now, I don't know how true this is because it's not in the Bible of Bond, which is some kind of hero, but there is some chatter online that Steven Spielberg wanted to direct this and Cubby Broccoli turned him down. Now, how true this is, I don't know. Okay. I can't verify it, but it seems to be one of those things that might be possible. Okay. He was a sort of relatively young filmmaker. Jaws hadn't come out at that point. Yeah. You know, maybe he hadn't quite made his name. Yeah. I don't quite know what the truth of that is. The script was written by Christopher Wood and Richard Maybaum, who of course has written several Bond films. It was given a late polish by Tom Mankiewicz, who we've seen in a few films recently, although he was paid, he was uncredited for doing so. Yeah. The important thing about this movie was that it's the first one that was produced by Cubby Broccoli alone. Yeah. Harry Saltzman sold his stake in Eon, and so Broccoli felt he was under a bit of pressure here First time, first movie he's doing on his own. He's got to get it right. He introduced his stepson, Michael G. Wilson, who obviously you know very well, having just auditioned for him, as an assistant.
I think he's forgotten me already.
Well, his loss. As an assistant producer, and he's been with the series ever since in a variety of different roles. You might have noticed this film looks a little bit different. That's because Ken Adam was back. He was back for this movie and the next one. All the sets are kind of bigger, more elaborate, more expensive, very Ken Adam.
Yeah.
We've got those huge super
time
tankers.
as well, though?
No, he didn't do Man with the Golden Gun.
I forgot. I'm getting me
Come on.
Because I definitely was in awe of the sets this time, and I thought
they are amazing. And what he actually did was he created a new soundstage, a new stage to actually put all that on, but made it so that they could reuse it when they didn't want it to be a super tanker anymore, rather than doing what they did for You Only Live Twice, where he built this enormous volcano and then basically had to dismantle it and throw it all away. So anyway, he actually got an Oscar nomination for his work on this movie, Ken Adam. And Stanley Kubrick visited the stage to advise him on lighting that enormous set. Give him a little bit of a tick. Historical context, what else happened in this year? Well, in one word, it's 1977, so...
Some more films came out that year, didn't they?
Some other films came out,
One...
War, Star... Yeah. No, I can't remember. No, anyway. Something else that happened that year?
Yeah.
Disco! And it shows in the soundtrack, which we will talk about later, because we do have Disco Bond going on. This was based, of course, on the novel... The Spy Who Loved Me, which came out in 1962. It was the 9th novel and the 10th James Bond book. Don't forget, one of them was a series of short stories. This novel was very different because it was written from the perspective of the female heroine, the female lead, rather than from Bond's perspective or from the point of view of a third party. Very different to the other novels, not very well received. And in fact, Fleming actually forbade the novel being made into a film. So the producers couldn't use any part of it other than the title. The only bit that even vaguely survives is that one of the villains in the novel was called Horror. And he had a big metal brace in his teeth.
Okay.
And they kind of took this idea, made it bigger, and eventually he became Jules.
Yeah.
Right, production. Normally at this point we talk about people having horrific accidents, losing limbs, nearly dying, etc.
My favourite bit.
Yeah, I know, this is the bit. This is the only bit he really is interested in. There were some problems.
Okay.
No one died or anything, but
I'm not hoping anyone died. Just,
So first of all, they originally thought they would use an oil tanker for the Liparis, right?
Yeah.
The main boat. So they actually approached Shell about getting an oil tanker. Yeah. And Shell were genuinely up for this idea, but there was one condition. We'll give you an old ex-oil tanker, but you can't have any naked flames. No one can smoke, no one can do anything because obviously, kaboom. So they decided perhaps maybe not, tad risky. So they got Ken Adam to do the interiors, and obviously they got models for the rest of Derek Bennings did models for the rest of the exterior shots. They shot for a long time in Egypt, where the food was very bad and all the crew and cast were complaining. So much so that Cubby Broccoli ended up flying in some spaghetti and making a massive spaghetti meal for the entire cast and crew. There's pictures of him with an apron on and this huge vat of spaghetti on the go. When Bond kills Stromberg, there's an explosion in the chair beside Bond. Would it surprise you to know that they triggered that a little bit too early and Roger Moore got slightly injured? He actually got burned on his arse.
Oh,
no. So, yeah, that happened. Oh, and you know the great big globe in the control room on the Liparis? Yeah, caught fire, melted. 10 extras had some burns. But, it's fine. It happens. It's all part of it. Whatever. We have got some controversies in this movie, some things that haven't aged particularly well. Obviously, we're talking about a movie that's nearly 50 years old. There are a couple of instances where we've got Bond basically being a douche to women again. I hate the women drivers, let's try reverse and all that bit.
That bit really stood out. It's just shut up.
Yeah.
Every time they cut back to him, he says another one.
Can you play any other tune? Let's try reverse. That's backwards. Would you like me to try it? Women drivers.
Quiet.
Yeah, I'm as annoyed as Triple X.
Exactly, yeah. Not impressed. Anyway, this movie is widely considered one of the best. I don't wish to preempt your scores. I know you've already done them. But it's widely considered one of the better films in the entire series. Rotten Tomatoes today has an 82% score for this movie, so very, very high. And it was also Roger Moore's favourite of all the Bond films, the 7 Bond films that he made. It was a huge, huge success. The budget for this movie was $13.5 million. The box office, take a guess.
200 million.
Very nearly, 185 and a bit million. Absolutely huge movie. Took nearly twice what The Man with the Golden Gun took. A huge return to form, this movie, at a time when the pressure was really on, especially as the last movie hadn't been particularly successful, and Broccoli, as I say, was now producing on his own. So it reinvigorated the franchise. And talking of things that are reinvigorated, it is time to move to the BondBoard, which we will do in just a moment. Welcome back. Roger, will you please activate the BondBoard?
Spellcasting! B-O-N-D-B-A-R. I spelled it wrong.
Bombard.
Spellcasting! B-O-N-D-B-O-A-R-D. Activate!
Hey, look at that. A marvellous thing. It's just the BondBoard of beauty. It's a beautiful thing. It is to laminate-based board technology what your suit is to fashion. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Should we just do the top 3 so you can do the dishes?
Yes, it'd be nice to do a dish, but I don't really want to do 100 of them. So,
let's just do the top. So
our top 3 at the moment.
Top 3 at the moment are From Russia with Love. For God's sake, with 184. And Thunderball with 186. And in first place is Goldfinger 191.
There's some dishes for you.
To be.
You lucky people. Right, the first category that we are going to talk about is the pre-title sequence.
Yes.
Now, before we get into this, can I just say, we are not going to go any farther in this episode without mentioning the Alan Partridge scene, right? Okay, we have to talk about Alan Partridge.
I mean,
so again, if you don't know what we're talking about, stop us at this point.
Yes.
Google the words Alan Partridge, James Bond, and watch. It's only about 4 or 5 minutes of Alan doing the introduction to The Spy Who Loved Me and talking you through the pre-title sequence and the credits to The Spy Who Loved Me. It is genius.
Yes, nowhere near it. We couldn't touch that. I'd also recommend, I'd recommend the entire episode. I believe it's called, that's Never Say Alan Again.
Mm-hmm.
Just recommend watching all of Alan Partridge. But
watch all of it,
if you've not seen it when he's trying to do his Bond marathon.
It is superb. I am up against it with this Bond marathon. So look, it's absolutely brilliant. So please go and watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. There will be a lot of references to that as we go through. Sorry, there just will. But it makes a change from bottom, doesn't it? Look at it that way. So, opening sequence. What do you make of the pre-title sequence?
I've merely written that all of my highlights overlap with the other categories, which is a really helpful thing for me to write.
Excellent.
Put all the details in the other categories, but I mean, it's got. Before we get to the skiing, what a whole submarine? Right.
You're joking. And also, I do like when you hear the captain jump up onto the ship on the HMS Ranger, and he goes, "What the hell's going on?" In this fantastic public school RADA voice.
Yes.
That's the man who used to be in the Oneiden line.
What the hell's going on?
That Partridge was talking about. We see General Gogol for the Russian KGB boss for the first time. He's got eyebrows, you know. And we also get to see Michael Billington as Triple X's lover. The man who screen tested for Bond more than any other actor. Unfortunately, never got the part.
So he got a
little part in the end.
It's quite a good role, but very short on screen time.
It is, yes. But there we are. And would you believe Triple X is a lady?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. They did that was good. I didn't. No, yeah. The first time when they're in bed and then the jewelry box intercom goes.
Yes.
Yeah, it did surprise me. Just. Very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
She's triple.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Yeah. First time also we see Roger Moore in a pre-title sequence. Because
Yeah.
in the previous two, he wasn't in it. Well,
Yeah, apart from
his
playing a waxwork.
effigy was in The Man with the Golden Gun. Great ski sequence, of course.
That's brilliant stuff.
It
Yeah.
is terrific stuff, isn't it? Being chased by, and I quote, these Russian shits in black jumpsuits with lemon piping. So, really good ski sequence.
Yeah.
Really like that. James Bond's going to die, but obviously not, because that would be ridiculous. Why
Yeah.
would you ever kill James Bond off in a movie? Why would you? Why would you do that?
What's he on about?
Don't know. Anyway, we should talk about the stunt at this point.
Yeah.
So we have Bond skiing off the cliff face, and of course the famous long
Yeah.
free fall, pulls the ripcord, parachute, Union Jack, da 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 da. Audiences all over the world stand up and cheer, and everything's marvellous. And so, hang on, we're getting there. But I was just going to say, we will talk about that stunt in detail in the stunt section. So we will come back to that. It is an absolutely terrific stunt. And I was also just going to say, nice use of the original Bond theme when the parachute's pulled.
Yeah.
Not a sort of updated 70s version, but go back to the original. I thought was really,
Yeah.
really good. Have I missed anything for the opening sequence?
No.
What did you make of it?
I absolutely loved it.
Top drawer, I thought.
Top drawer. Obviously,
Top
I
drawer
knew
opening
a bit about it from Alan Partridge's explanation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the skiing was, it's quick, but there's some great choreographed stuff going on. Really impressive. Really good. Just like the bit at the beginning with the submarines is just really daunting, and
They all look really sort of
atmospheric,
claustrophobic. Yeah.
So I absolutely love this, and I'm saying 9 out of 10.
I am also saying 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
There we are. We agree on the first category, which is nice.
Yeah.
And can I say, the strongest pre-title sequence we have had... I'll just continue and pretend we haven't dropped the pen. The best pre-title sequence we have had so far.
Yeah.
From both of us.
Yeah.
In fact, we've only had a couple of 8s. So, yeah, 2... In fact, they're all 7s.
I know. I like Thunderballs one.
Oh, you
quite
like
a lot.
Thunderballs. Yeah, you
Yeah.
went 9 for Thunderball.
Yeah.
Anyway, first one we've had for a long time. First
Yeah.
one I've ever given
Yeah.
one to. So, a fabulous pre-title sequence. Now, of course, we move to the theme song. And may I be the first to say...
Yeah.
Glang, a-lang, 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 a-lang.
Been learning this.
Da, 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 da.
Oh,
Da.
that kind of thing.
That's great. No, beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. Better than me going glang, a-lang, a-lang.
Right.
Hey! Very good, very good. Well, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful tune. Legendary song, sung by Carly Simon, of course. The first theme song in the series with a different title to that of the film.
Yeah.
Although The Spy Who Loved Me is sung in the
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
But it's not the theme of not the title of the song.
Yeah.
And a different kind of song, because it's not about the villain. Normally it's singing about
Yeah,
Goldfinger
yeah.
or singing about Thunderball.
Yeah.
But this is about Bond himself.
Yeah.
And I think it's a legendary Bond theme. Absolute top tier Bond theme, I would say.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with me, Great Bait?
I agree that I love this one so much, I'm giving it 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
So 10
Yeah.
for Tom. I'm going 9.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely top drawer. Maybe not quite a 10, but absolutely top drawer. Which is on a par with...
That's the same scores we gave Live and
Yeah,
Let
same
Die.
scores we gave Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also scored Diamonds Are Forever very highly, and Almost Secret Service very highly. So I think we're picking out the sort of top drawer Bond themes there. Which brings us to the music, the score for the movie. Now, have you got... Sorry, you're looking like there's something you want to play there.
I'm just going to talk about the disco stuff a bit.
Oh, let's do that. So this was scored by Marvin Hamlish.
Yeah.
Only 38 years... John Barry was unavailable for tax reasons. He couldn't work in Britain. So Marvin Hamlish got to do the score. He was only 38 at the time and had quite a different approach, more modern, a bit younger perhaps. So uses disco a lot, as we said. There's a song called Bond 77.
That stuff's going on in the background in the very
strong.
squelchy. That sort of thing.
Strong, nice. Well, you don't hear that, but you do hear the disco version of James Bond thing, which is really nice. But he's still kept the strings and some of the old notes from the previous incarnations of the theme and the original theme and so on as well. Yeah. Also, there's a few little in-jokes in the score which you might have spotted.
Okay.
So when the van breaks down and they have to walk across the desert, you get the Lawrence of Arabia tune.
Yeah.
Anya's music box, you mentioned earlier on when she's in bed and she leans over to answer the music box. That's the Dr. Zhivago theme that it's playing, which is quite a nice little touch. And when Bond is fixing the bomb to the roof of the Liparis, it actually uses the original Bond theme.
Right.
And then when the plug is pulled, the theme suddenly stops, which I think is quite nice as well. Again, Oscar nomination for Marvin Hamlish for this as well. Unfortunately, neither he or John Barry won, but great to get nominated. He actually got nominated twice, one for the score and one for the title song as well, which he also co-wrote. So, I think it's a really strong soundtrack. Very different to what we've heard.
Yeah.
Up to this point.
Very much so. I mean, but it's strange with these kind of scores when you're using the disco synth sounds in the bass, like I said, and it probably sounded really dated about 20 years ago, but now it's really cool again.
Comes back in. No, absolutely. No,
so it's
right.
kind of, it's right.
Because all these things do go in sort of circles, don't they?
Absolutely,
you say, in the 90s, the 80s were very much out.
Yeah.
And then in the 2000s, they sort of came back in.
80s is cool again.
I think you're right. I think this would have been sort of in the late 80s, they probably would have looked at this soundtrack and how. Whereas now, I think we look at it and go, well, it's of its time and there's some really good stuff in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's also, I liked the bit where they're in underwater once the Lotus has transformed and they've got this sort of... Do you remember this?
I do.
Oh, that went a bit wrong. But yeah, I mean, the notes at the top there... Yeah,
that's what we've come to see. Sorry, go on.
They really are just all stuck together. They're semitones they're all used in that melody. So
I mean, I wonder if Marvin Hamlish had longer to write this.
Yeah.
John Barry always seemed to be sort of squeezing in a theme tune in the last fortnight or something before the premiere. Yeah. So I wonder if that helped, having a bit longer to work on it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
perhaps. It's lovely stuff and just great. Yeah. I was listening to that going, this shouldn't really work. Or that's not in a scale that's, when you're learning scales as a kid.
Right.
You don't go your scale, all the notes. What happened? All of them. But in this major seventh chord.
I was going to say major seventh.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, no, terrific. Really like it. I've gone 8 for this score.
8 from James. I'm going 9.
Ooh.
Absolutely stellar.
The musician likes the score. So that takes us on to stunts. And of course, the big one in this is the ski jump that we talked about earlier on. It was filmed in Canada, on Baffin Island, in a place called Mount Asgard. It is 5,800 feet tall. That's how high he was when he skied off the ledge. Not bad, is it? It was done by a guy called Rick Sylvester, who was a sort of, not really a stuntman, a sort of adventurer, climber, skier kind of guy. Never had done it before, but thought it was possible. Strangely enough, they did it on one take.
Yeah.
Funny that. He didn't really fancy doing it again. He was paid $30,000 to do it, and there were a number of cameras that were on him. I think 6 or 7 cameras were filmed on him, but for whatever reason, only one managed to track him all the way down. Had that one not picked him up, it all would have been lost. But actually, it works really well. Just having one single shot, just following him all the way down, looks great. Actually, the cost for the stunt was $500,000. It was the most expensive single stunt that had ever been attempted in the movie industry at that time. It was directed by John Glenn, who went on to direct every Bond film in the 80s, like as the main director, not the second director. He was also the guy who put together that fabulous ski chase in On Her Majesty's Secret Service that we raved about and thought it was great. They were actually up there in Canada for 2 weeks waiting for the right conditions. God. Just waiting around in snowstorms and whatever for the right conditions. And when they finally had it, there was a 20-minute window. And as soon as Rick Sylvester landed, there was another week's worth of appalling weather, which meant they couldn't have stayed for another week because they couldn't have afforded it. Yeah. And so it would never have happened had it not been for that 20-minute window. But one of the ultimate Bond stunts, I think. Some other things in this movie. Really good ending to the fight on the roof in Cairo. When the guy's holding on to Bond's tire and he just knocks the hand away. I just think that's such a clever... and shows Bond at his most ruthless, which Roger Moore wasn't always the most comfortable doing. Yeah. You felt Connery would have been perfectly happy to knock his arm away and kill him. But I just think that's...
that bloke, I looked it up because I thought I recognised him.
Yeah.
He's in Doctor No.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I've learnt something there.
He's got very small part as a henchman.
Right.
Who just duffs up Bond a bit at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know the guy who played Sandor was a wrestler in real life.
Sandor.
And he looks like a wrestler the way he moves.
He also looks a bit like Stuart Bingham after a load of steroids. Former world championship snooker player.
You'll need to know your snooker players, but yes, he does look a bit like Stuart Bingham. Can I also point out the fight scene on the train when Jaws is in the wardrobe is terrific. Yeah. Really good. I think fight scenes on trains just work.
They work,
claustrophobic and the sound effects and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as good as the From Russia With Love one, but very good.
It did feel a bit kind of deliberately reminiscent, but I was all right
with I'm all right with that. Yeah, absolutely. That, by the way, was all choreographed by Bob Simmons. This stuntman who we keep talking about. Yeah. Would you mind jumping in that pool of sharks, please,
exactly.
Bob? Yeah, no problem. God. He sort of did everything in the 60s.
Can let's say about sharks. I mean, I did see a shot with a real shark and a human, and I winced like hell.
Yeah.
Is that Bob, or is that because it was meant to be the woman? I don't know if
I don't know.
They got a woman stuntman or they got a bloke in a dress.
Know, but there's someone in the tank with the shark. Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have a shark handler?
I don't know. Just get Bob Simmons. He'll get it with it. Don't worry.
Crazy stuff.
But can I just point out on that? You know the end of the train fight when Bond kicks Jaws through the window.
Yeah.
That was Bob Simmons doubling for Jaws because he choreographed that whole fight. Right. He doubled for Richard Kiel in the fight. They shot him from certain angles because obviously Kiel is so much taller.
Yeah.
But when he went through the glass, that was real glass.
They thought the window was open.
No, genuinely, it was real glass. They went, Bob, do you mind going through the real glass? Yeah, cool. And through he went. Really good car chase in Sardinia.
Yeah.
Like the way that it escalates. So it's a motorbike, it's a car, it's a helicopter, and it's like, really? Come on. Yeah. So
really
I think that
great.
Works well.
Like, I guess that the helicopter flying that really low stuff where the Lotus is kind of wheel spinning.
Trying to get away from it.
That must be pretty difficult to
I would have thought so.
pull off.
Yeah, very difficult.
Very impressive stuff.
You know the sidecar that's with the motorbike that turns out to be a missile?
Yeah.
Would it surprise you to learn that there was a person in there? They actually converted it. No, this is true. They converted it so a person could lie down inside and like steer the missile toward the back of the truck.
Oh god!
All they then did was speed it up.
Yeah.
On the film. But yeah, there was literally someone lead flat inside steering that thing towards the
I
back
thought
of
you
the
were
truck.
going to, and then they got blown up.
No, well, yeah,
good.
no, yeah.
They're good. They didn't harm themselves.
Any stunts I missed?
Yeah,
Well, you swim with sharks, you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, there's Jules landing a car vertically into a house.
Nice touch.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty
Kind of-
good.
Guess they just dropped that from a crane or something.
Okay, yeah, just out of shot, I guess.
But again,
Pretty
impressive
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
An underwater disco chase sequence. That's pretty cool.
Missing some disco lights. But
The massive shootout at the at the rig. Just loads of explosions. Blokes flying around.
Loads of guys
some
falling
them
off
on
the gantry
fire
into the water. And
Again,
yeah.
I just kind of I watch these movies a couple of times. The first time I'm just watching it like a movie.
Yeah.
I don't make any notes or anything.
Yeah.
And then it's like the second or third, if I keep going, it is more when I'm. How did they actually do this?
Actually, let me just see that again. Yeah.
Really impressive. I love
So
all of this.
loads of great
Yeah.
stunts. I've got 9 for stunts. I think it's huge for stunts.
I've only got 8, but yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
it's
good score.
And is Jules ripping strips off that van? I mean, that's stunt work, isn't it?
I would have thought so. Yeah.
Could have
yeah.
tried the door.
Well,
maybe.
exactly.
But-
I mean, there's just stunts
See,
everywhere
what-
you turn.
You
in
said
it.
9, didn't you?
I said 9. Yeah.
I'm actually going to try and write the right numbers down this time because did you see?
I noticed you. Yeah. I didn't want to say anything, but
Last time.
I kept it very professional.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
vehicles.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about the Lotus.
Yeah. I mean, that
So-
definitely is the standout.
That is a standout. So it is known, and please don't guffaw in a sort of childish manner, it is known as Wet Nelly, as a reference to Little Nelly from
Yeah.
You Only Live Twice. And yet it was a Lotus Esprit. At the time, it was the only one.
Right.
It wasn't a production car at that point.
Right.
Lotus were sort of
Lotus.
building it, and it was a concept, and it was whatever else.
Yeah.
The people from Lotus actually parked it deliberately at Pinewood Studios, where Kirby Broccoli could see it, and went, "Let's put that in the movie." Right? So brilliant idea. However, the engine kept overheating on the car, and it wasn't very reliable. So there were
Yeah.
mechanics constantly trying to make the thing work. Roger Moore apparently didn't like it because it kept breaking down.
Yeah.
They felt that they needed a second car as a spare,
Right.
just in case. Not they were going to blow it up or anything, but for certain shots.
Yeah.
There was only one other car, and that was Colin Chapman, the legendary owner and chairman of Lotus. Great sort of racing car guy and all that kind of stuff. A legend in motorsport. It was his car, and it was the only other one they had. Cool. And they got it out to Sardinia, and they did some shots of that, but obviously promised not to touch it or drop it in the water or anything like that. Yeah. They did drop the concept car in the water. So when you see Bond drive up onto the beach, they literally did put that car in the water and then tow it up the... they just hid the cable and tow it up the beach. It wasn't, I'm afraid, a submarine in real life. Sorry if I've shattered anybody's illusions there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sorry.
No. Obviously, I realise it's not, but bloody hell, does that look good? The transformation
It does.
sequence.
Do you know how they did that?
No.
Several models they gave to Derek Meddings, right, who was the model genius from Thunderbirds and went on to do loads of Bond films up to Goldeneye. And there were several little models that he did, but they also gave him 6 fiberglass full-size hulls at different stages of the conversion.
Yeah.
So one with the wheels still on, but the fin sticking out, and one where the wheels have gone in now and something else sticking out, and just shot it that way. So a simple idea, but very, very effective when you see
Looks
it.
so good. And when they're actually, fully transformed into the sub, and the lighting just with the
It does look.
the windscreen, but the way that reflects and because you've got the lines on the windscreen. Right?
Yeah. That's right.
This?
Yeah.
I was just
I'm in.
stunned
I'm like, cool.
by the visuals.
Yeah, I'm absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it is good. A couple of little problems with the car. Number one, that car, not Colin Chapman's, but the car they used, is now owned by Elon Musk. Sorry. He bought it for $600,000, of course he did, at an auction in 2013. There is also a slight problem
Did
with
he
the
drive it
Lotus.
into the sea?
I don't who knows, maybe. I bet he thought, I'll convert this to a car, the other slight problem is, in the chase sequence up over the mountains of Sardinia, a fully laden 4 massive blokes in a Ford Cortina keep up with the Lotus. Now, come on. How slow is this Lotus? How fast is that Cortina?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just me being a bit picky. Fabulous vehicle. Really, really like it.
Yeah.
Liparis, the super tanker.
Yeah.
That, as I said, they were going to use a full tanker. I thought it was a bad idea. As soon as someone lit a fag, they'd have all gone up like a rocket. So it was a model, and they gave it to Derek Meddings to make a model. But the model he made was 65 feet long.
Ooh.
So how long is this? I mean, it is huge, right? It's a huge model. Also, we should talk about the jet ski. Well, we would call it a jet ski, but back then it was called a wet bike, and it was absolutely brand new.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as a jet ski.
Build your own jet ski.
Yeah, it was a new, again, a sort of concept vehicle. They gave it to Roger Moore and said, go and learn how to ride that thing, so that it was genuinely him on the water doing it. But it was the only one of its kind at that time. On vehicles, can I also just quickly say, shout out to the escape chamber. I do like the way Stromberg's gone, right, I'm going to need something to get out of this in case someone comes along and blows it up. I want a nice comfy bed with some curtains, some Dom Perignon that's chilled. Everything needs to be gold as well, all the fixtures and fittings. And like, you know.
Yeah.
So a nice escape chamber.
Yes.
Nice vehicle. Don't know how far you'd get in it, but you'd be in a lot of luxury.
Yeah.
Have I missed anything?
No, I think, because you meant, the bike and sidecar.
Oh, yeah, the bike,
Dom,
yeah.
Yeah, and Naomi's helicopter. So, it's all a lot of variation.
Yeah.
A lot of underwater stuff going on. But the Lotus, I'm not normally that asked about cars, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely blown away.
Yeah,
and
it
9
is good.
out of 10 from me.
9 out of 10 from me as well.
Whoa.
We're matching quite a lot this week,
Yeah.
aren't we? 9s, 10s. All very good. High scores as well. Right, villain.
Yeah.
So this is Kurt Jurgens as Stromberg. What are you making him?
I thought he was great. Really good performance. Really good. And but kind of like just another... A very stereotypical Bond villain.
Generic villain.
With a aquatic thing bolted on. He seemed to have a bit of a fish fetish.
Fish fetish. A fetish for fish.
You remember The Simpsons? I thought you said Troy McClure was dead. No, I said he sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's good, and I think he does everything he can with that role. I think the actor does everything he can with that part. And he's a terrific actor. It's not, like you say, there isn't anything about him that stands out particularly other than the fish thing.
Other than the...
So good, but
weird,
maybe not excellent. Maybe not top tier villain.
And mad bonkers plan to create an underwater
I'm just
land.
going to kill everybody who's not on my little underwater thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot to like about him, I would say. But maybe not in the sort of absolute top echelon of villains, perhaps.
What have you said there, man?
I've gone 7.
Oh, well, I've done the
think he's
same. I
good,
thought
but
maybe
not
I was being a
excellent.
bit generous after that short discussion, but I do like the weird fish angle.
And not shaking hands. We never found out why.
Oh, yeah.
We never found out why. Was he
Don't
was
like
it a
it.
reference like Howard Hughes or something? 'Cause
Maybe.
I don't know.
They don't explore that at all, do they?
Yeah,
I forgot
just
about
a
that.
weird little thing
Yeah.
that he didn't want to shake hands. Just one thing on Stromberg. You know at the start when he kills the doctor and the professor by blowing up the helicopter?
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to pay you $20 million.
Yeah.
Then he blows up the helicopter.
Yeah.
Then he goes to his presumably secretary or assistant or whatever. He presses the button and goes, cancel the transfer of the 20 million.
Yeah.
Why transfer the 20 million if you're going to kill them anyway? Or
Maybe...
Or was it a spur of the moment
might
thing?
have
Did he
been,
think,
he thought,
bollocks to
actually-
it, I'll just kill him.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, no.
I should-
Save the 20 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, there we are. And also, his death is, again, good, but not brilliant.
Yeah.
Although I like the way he dies by being shot in the nuts. I think that's quite, like... Did you...
Yeah.
You know, so...
He's got his under the table
and some under-the-table
harpoon
action.
pipe thing going on.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, that was the
Okay.
villain. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the henchman, which means primarily Jaws.
Well, Jules and Stuart Bingham.
Stuart, yeah. We'll park Stuart Bingham for now. Jaws, Richard Keel,
Yeah.
7'2".
Flip.
I mean,
Yeah.
a big guy.
Yeah.
And did you see in the fight on the train with Bond? I mean, Roger Moore was a big bloke, 6 foot plus, very muscular, very well built. You know, he just looks
He could just put his hand
tiny.
over his head.
And his hand, when he's got it on Moore's
I
neck, is
know.
just colossal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just an enormous man. You know?
There was a little bit of suspension of disbelief with,
Punching him in the jaw.
well, just Bond having
all of it.
any chance against him whatsoever. I know they handled it well with, you know, showing that he's outmatched physically and him having to do the, you know, the light fixture, the lamp thing, and being creative rather than matching him with brawn, electrocute his teeth.
Maybe stop trying to punch him on his metal mouth as well. That would be the other thing I would say. And I know that the chances are against you. You're not going to improve them by punching him somewhere where he's literally made of metal. Anyway, his teeth, by the way, those prosthetic teeth he was wearing, he could only wear them for about 30 seconds before he started to sort of gag and whatever, because they were just disgusting to have in his mouth. They were designed by Stanley Kubrick's daughter, who was working on the movie. Jaws has a bit of a humorous side as well. They try to sort of show him dropping the rock on his foot and stuff like that, and almost like the way he walks out of, as you say, the car goes into the house and he just sort of walks out brushing himself down. It's almost like they're sort of playing up the idea that he's almost indestructible, but a bit clumsy, you know. So there is a sort of humorous side to him as well. Sandor, we talked a little bit about, Stuart Bingham, former world champion snooker player. It actually played by Milton Reed, who was a wrestler who'd been in a few movies over the years. As I say, good death. Love the way he gets knocked off the roof to his demise. I think is an excellent scene. Have I missed any henchmen? I don't.
No, that's.
think
I mean,
so.
well, I mean, you could say like Naomi and people like that, but I suppose they are. They're baddies. They,
Well, Naomi does try to kill him with a helicopter.
Yeah, but most noteworthy.
Yeah.
Jaws by a mile.
Now this might seem a little harsh. I've gone 7.
Okay, I've gone 8.
Okay.
Because I think it's like really cool, really good, iconic looking. But
could they do a little more with him? Could they make him a little scarier?
maybe I think
There is. I'm going to give it away. Go on.
I know
sorry.
he
I'm going to
comes
give
back.
something away.
I
Oh,
know
you
he
do?
comes-
Okay,
yeah.
fine. So there's one scene in Moonraker where I think Jaws is genuinely terrifying.
Okay.
I won't tell you what it is or what. We'll talk about it in the next episode. But I just would like to have seen a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, location is the next category.
Ooh.
We have primarily for this movie Egypt, particularly Cairo, and Sardinia,
Yeah.
and the waters around Sardinia. A lot of the underwater sequences were shot in Nassau, in the Bahamas. They filmed in Scotland, up at the naval base. They also filmed some of the sequences in Okinawa in Japan, although they didn't recognise... You're right there? They didn't recognise that... they didn't acknowledge that was it when they were making the movie. So, I think the main two, Egypt, Cairo, and Sardinia, are probably the main two.
Yeah, and I mean they make them absolute most out of Egypt.
Yeah,
don't
they do.
It's-
Big time.
When they go around the ruins, when they're trying to find jewels, and he's up at another level.
Yeah.
The pyramids and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And again, I think we've sort of started lumping in the sets with location
with
scoring.
locations.
And again, I was
Yeah.
just completely blown away by Ken Adams' design.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what's the best. Probably the Stromberg's, his main room with the windows with the
Yeah.
sharks and everything outside.
And the long table and everything. Yeah. And also that set when the 3 submarines are together in the Liparis. I mean, it was genuinely that
Giant,
big. It's
isn't
not,
it? Yeah.
that's not a model or anything. That was a real set. It was that big. When those lights go on, it's all sort of gloomy, and then the lights go on. You realise just how enormous it is.
The Paris has its own monorail system. And that was really cool. I loved it. I've gone 9 out of 10 for location.
I've gone 8 for location, so I think they're very good. You know me, I like to see a little bit more globetrotting.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very happy with locations. What we have deduced so far is that The Spy Who Loved Me, I think, is going to get a very
He's
high
scoring
score.
bloody
He's scoring
high.
very well. We
We're
could have a
on to
contender.
a new winner here.
We could have a contender.
Let's see how the last few categories go.
Goldfinger leads on 191, so maybe we're going to have a contender. Now, story. Tom, do you have one of your amazing plot summaries?
Again, I have one of my plot summaries.
Okay, you have a plot summary.
I will go through this, and I say this every time. I thought this one, I was watching this movie and I thought 5 sentences at the most.
Yeah, not a problem. Get through it.
Let's see how this panned
Okay,
out then.
okay. Now, do you want me to interrupt you, or you just want to play through
You
it?
can interrupt me.
Play through it if you
can
want.
go for it.
Okay,
I'll edit
right.
it out if you're annoying me. Or if I'm annoying myself,
gonna-
I'll just put your interruptions
To
and
be honest,
leave my
just
story
just
out.
edit me out full
Yeah.
stop. It's
No,
fine,
no,
mate.
no. I'll edit. I might edit this whole section.
Okay,
Okay, let's see how it goes. Ready?
go.
After a British and Soviet submarine vanish, Bond is once again interrupted from a successful time as he's called to investigate, as is his Soviet rival Triple X. Bond escapes an ambush on skis by a squad of Soviet agents, one of which he kills. Turns out that was Triple X's boyfriend. Bond and Triple X are separately sent to Egypt, where the plans for an advanced submarine tracking system are being offered and banded around or something. Meanwhile, the 2 scientists who developed the tracking system meet with Stromberg in his underwater home. Stromberg tells them he's paying them 10 million each for this, as you just mentioned, and then kills his secretary with a trapdoor lift leading to a shark. As she has stolen information from him. The scientists are relieved to not suffer the same fate, but then Stromberg blows them up in a helicopter when they're leaving. Bond meets his old pal Sheikh Hossein, who tells him to find a bloke called Fakesh, and then gives Bond a woman to sleep with.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Have one of these.
At Fakesh's house, some woman isn't all that forthcoming with info, so Bond uses his successful charms to persuade her, but she is shot by mistake by Sandor, one of Stromberg's henchmen.
Who looks a bit like former snooker world champion Stuart Bingham.
Bond and Sandor have a fight on a rooftop. No match for Bond. Sandor is left to fall to his death before letting Bond know that he should go to the pyramids. At the pyramids, Triple X is also there looking for Fakesh, but so is Jules, who kills him. Fakesh, that is. Bond and Triple X then go to meet Kalber at his club. They're negotiating to obtain the microfilm containing the tracking system info,
Yes.
but Kalber is called away to make a phone call and is bloody killed by Jules, who takes the microfilm. And then after some chasing around some ruins, Bond and Triple X get the better of Jules and get the microphone and get on a boat where Triple X gasses Bond and knocks him out with a gas ciggy.
Cigarette, yeah.
Once he comes around, he goes to a secret base where the bosses are all there, and they get Bond and Triple X to team up, as the microfilm only had limited information and they need the rest of it.
This sounds so complicated. It felt quite easy when I was watching it. Go on.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
You've managed it again.
I know. They get on a train and are
Right.
attacked by Jaws again, but Bond electrocutes his teeth and chucks him off the train. They meet Q, who gives Bond a rather nice looking car. Bond and Triple X go undercover meeting with Stromberg. All appears to go well, but once they leave, they are pursued by baddies, including Naomi in a helicopter. Bond drives off a pier, and then his car turns into a bloody submarine, and then blows up Naomi's helicopter and knocks the shit out of what? Knocks the shit out of underwater baddies with a range of cool weapons installed in the Lotus.
Okay. I think that's what they call it in Q Branch. If in doubt, knock the shit out of the 007.
Yeah, it's a deleted scene.
Yeah.
We're nearly there. They get on an American submarine which gets eaten by the Liparus. Is that it? Liparus?
Yeah, Liparus, yeah.
I was saying Liparus before. They are taken prisoner, and Stromberg reveals his evil plan to bring on nuclear holocaust so he can create an underwater world. Stromberg takes off with Triple X to Atlantis. His underwater, his moving thingamajig.
Up and down thing.
Yeah, Bond escapes and frees all the sailors, and then there's a massive shootout. The Liparus blows up, but loads of survivors and the goodies get away in a submarine. Bond burns off in a jet ski to rescue Triple X, gets attacked by Jaws again, but outwits him with a massive magnet. Bond kills Stromberg and rescues Triple X, and then get in an escape pod and are caught doing it by the bosses.
Hey! Very good. Very good.
God almighty. At least I
They're
get to
getting longer,
cut
aren't
loads
they?
of clips in with that, so it's not just...
Yeah. No. I'm sure it'll all hang together. It usually does.
God.
I almost hesitate to ask at the end of all that, but what are you scoring the story?
Despite this rambling shite that I just said, I'm giving that 8 out of 10.
I've also given it 8 out of 10. Although I'm starting to rethink it after that description. Should be 1, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, there we are. Thank you for that. I do think it's one of the better plots.
Yeah. Right.
Gadgets.
Gags.
Let's talk gadgets and gags and girls. It's time for...
Gadgets. Gags. And girls.
Nice. There was like a little horn section blowing through that.
Disco. I was trying to do...
Very nice. Nice.
I was trying to copy
Little
the...
disco-y effect.
Yeah.
Impressed. Yeah, I can tell you've influenced Marvin Hamlish there. I'm very impressed.
No, I copied him.
Love.
Literally just copied him.
Go on, let's hear it again. Go on, I want to hear that again. I was very
I've
impressed.
got to go back to this bit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I did it pretty quick.
Right,
No, there. Gadgets. Gags. And girls.
That's just a thing of beauty, that. That's very nice.
Thank you.
I'm deeply impressed.
Good.
I'm very, very, very impressed.
Oh, I'm glad.
How much was that Casio keyboard? You know, was that the Bond Tempe?
The Bond Tempe.
Hey! Boom, boom,
I should have
tish.
got that my Bond Tempe organ. I should have said that from the first
yes,
episode.
see.
Oh.
Right, gadgets.
Crikey,
I've got a few. I've got the watch that does the Dymo tape, which I think is really nice.
What I like is they're like, where's the roll of tape? Sellotape. How does he just have it all running around his jacket sleeves? Like,
I used to
can't
have.
just be stored in the bloody watch.
I know I'm older than you. Do you remember Dymo tape?
Oh,
That
yeah.
stuff we used to do in the 80s, right?
The label maker.
I used
stuff.
I used to go around my grand's house and label everything.
Yeah.
There, right, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So when I watched it again recently in preparation for this, I thought, no, that literally is Dymo tape that he's got in his little Casio watch.
Yeah.
So how much Dymo tape? Because the guns were like that big. He's not worried. Anyway.
Yeah. It'd be like, urgent. Read this
Yeah.
Oh, I've run out of tape.
007.
Who was that? Yeah.
Anyway, there we are. The tea tray decapitator thing. Like that a lot.
Hang on. Because that's part of the Q-Band special.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry, we'll come back to that. Very
Yeah.
quickly, the only other thing I wanted to talk about, and I know you've got a list, so
Yeah.
I'll come to you. But the only other thing I want to talk about was primitive computers with those enormous keyboards where you go like that on the keyboard, and instruction manuals helpfully to the side.
I know.
I don't quite know how to stop this submarine. Hold on. Look in the instructions.
What were you
It
gonna, what else were you going to do in 77?
Press that. Yeah. I like the way he just goes. Was there a page in the instruction manual that said how to set the missiles to blow each other up? Was that sort of... Yeah,
It's got to be there.
There we are. There we are.
In case.
So I know there's a long list of gadgets. So
Shitloads.
what have you got?
Right. The music box intercom
Yes.
you've mentioned. Nice. Yeah. Watch, message,
Dymo tape.
ski pole gun.
Oh,
That was pretty cool.
yeah.
Trapdoor lift I have listed as a gadget.
Yes, I think so.
Triple X's knockout gas ciggy. Good.
Cigarette?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Exploding. Well, I call it an ice hockey puck mine but it really is just a mine.
It's a mine. Yeah,
okay.
it happens to look like an ice hockey puck. Yeah.
Build your own jet ski. Under the table firing tube. No, because he's got a harpoon, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Has he got a harpoon gun? But then
yeah.
Bond uses the tube to go.
Sends it back the other way.
Nice
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Bloody big magnet.
Yes.
Kind of gadget, I suppose. And then the Q brand special.
Go.
Can you imagine that? When that sequence starts, I was like,
how happy would you be to work there?
Can I just get a job at Q Branch, please?
I do like the tea tray decapitator
Killer
thing,
tea tray,
which, by the way, was a real thing.
Brilliant.
That wasn't special effects or anything. That was genuinely powered by the heat. Yeah.
So you've got that, and then then there's like just a massive spring.
just I know. We'll just fire someone up in the air.
Opium pipe machine gun.
Yes.
Very nice.
Very good.
I don't know if that was opium, but you know what I mean.
Hookah.
Hookah pipe machine gun. Shit slinger. That's the latest scene on the Lotus doing this shit slinging stuff in it. You see, is that the same? Is that the shit slinger from the Lotus that they're testing out? There's some stuff. I don't know. They're like little long things, and they sling a load of shit, and then he does that in the Lotus later on.
Maybe it is. Yeah.
And then the saddle knife, which is the most horrific gadget so far in the series.
What, the knife that comes up in the air?
Crikey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of damage, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
Gotta bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah.
So it is very gadget heavy. This
very
movie.
much. So.
But again, this is what we want from a Bond film, right? You know, your classic
Definitely
Bond films do have a load of gadgets. In them, don't they?
Just the most joyous Q Branch scene for me.
It's fabulous
so far, and
Although there are a couple more of those coming out.
I can't wait.
So very strong. What have you said for gadgets?
I got 9.
I've gone 8.
And I think, really, I mean, we should. Do we say the Lotus? Is it? It's
well, the Lotus is like a giant gadget itself, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a giant gadget with loads of little gadgets in it. So
and just I loved when Q first hands it over to Bond. Bond does his normal thing, but his ears consistent with the Connery and Q
absolutely,
dynamic,
and that continues actually through.
And just when he burns off, and Q's face is just like,
he's such a dickhead.
Again, I'm on your side, Q.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You should get to play with all this stuff. So
okay, 2 an 8 and a 9, 2 categories to go.
Yeah,
gags. Right, I've got a few, but probably not all of them. I've got
massive list again.
I've got M doing a nice gag. Tell him to pull out.
That's my first one.
Very good.
Immediately. Yeah.
I've got something came up. Which, as Michael says, and I'm Partridge, he means his cock.
Michael.
I'll tell you one that I didn't like. When it's not really a gag, but like a one-liner. When one is in Egypt, one should delve deeply into its treasures. No one actually says that. It's not like a saying. It's not a thing. It's like they've shoehorned the line in, Yeah, it's not.
And that is when he is just giving a woman...
Yeah.
Oh, he's going, no, I better
borrow
be off.
This woman
That's
for
the
gag.
gag. He's like, no, I better be off, actually. He's like, are you sure I can persuade you? Actually.
Well, go on.
A little bit horrible, that.
All those feathers and he still can't fly.
I mean, not really understanding the sort of rules of aviation there.
Physics.
Yeah. I mean,
anyone who might dabble in physics.
Yeah, if you've got some feathers.
Never seen the Major taking a shower before, which I think has got a good line. And of course, at the end, we have Keeping the British End Up, Sir, which is one of the classic Bond puns.
Normally, if I've only been to cinema once where people clapped at the end,
right?
And I just wanted to leave. Well, luckily I was leaving because the film had finished. But it's like, why you clap? I can't remember what. I think it was like Jurassic World or something. It wasn't even like a. It was. Jurassic World's okay, but doesn't deserve a round of applause.
No.
In a UK cinema, I know Americans do this kind of thing a lot.
Yeah.
Used to when people went to cinemas.
It's a very. Yeah.
But I would have stood up and clapped.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Keeping the British.
Yes.
Yeah, that was just the
That's
best
everything I need.
line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, brilliant. A couple of other things I would say on humour before we get to your list, because I know I've missed a few.
Yeah.
Just generally on humour. When Bond is driving out of the water, the man drinking the wine who sort of stops and looks at the wine bottle, That was an assistant director on the movie for the Italian locations. Remember him. You're going to see him again.
Okay.
All right? That's the only thing I'll say there.
Okay, I
And-
do like that. That is a well, maybe it wasn't such an overdone gag at that point, but the looking at the bot.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was all improvised. They said to him, "Look, just sit and do
Yeah.
something funny, just as like a
That's
little, just to
been-
fill it out a bit." And so he sort of sat with this wine and
I certainly see it as like a recurring kind of very hacky gag from the. I'd say probably from the 80s and beyond, though. Maybe he might have invented it.
Well,
Who
maybe.
knows?
The other thing is, I was going to say, just in terms of humour, not really a one-liner, but a sort of sequence of humour. The way Roger is with Naomi, when he first meets Naomi, he says about a fine craft or whatever it was, such lovely lines. But then when they get to the Liparis and he's, or when they get to Atlantis rather, and he's introduced Anya as his assistant, and he's saying like, "Don't be a bother to Naomi, darling," and all this, and Anya's just glaring at him like, "I am gonna cut your bollocks off when I get hold of you."
Yeah.
Right, and I quite like. I think the way Roger does that is quite funny. I think he does play that sort of stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
I must have missed some gags.
I wrote down pretty much everything that came out when I heard it. So
the whole script again. Here we go.
No. Just I may have missed a few, but yeah. So you said let's tell him to pull out immediately. Well done, Em. That was good. And well, the cut to what he's doing is funny. And then when Stromberg is saying about cancel when he's just blown up the guys and and then he says the funeral was at sea.
Yes. Very nice.
After Bond knocks Sandor off the
Yes.
he just goes, "What a helpful chap," to himself.
As he's adjusting his tie.
What a helpful chap. Yeah, not really that good, that one. You said when one is in Egypt, one should delve into his treasures. After, is it Fakesh? Yeah, Fakesh gets killed in the phone booth.
Yes. No, Calber gets filmed.
Yeah, sorry. And there's an out of order sign there, and Roger Bond just puts it on him. And I don't really know why he does that.
No.
But it's almost like a partridge. That was bang out of order. This is out of order, killing
I'll
this
tell you
man.
the other thing about that.
But I'm sure that's not why he did it. But.
The other thing is he was killed by Jules pretending to be a telephone repair guy.
Yeah.
Did no one notice that the telephone repair guy is 7'2"? Did you
know.
saw the
Listen,
world's tallest
I love-
telephone engineer?
I very much love inconspicuous
Yeah, I know. I quite like that as
undercover
well.
work.
I'll just
like that.
pretend to put this cap on. Now I'm a telephone repair guy.
Yeah, real inconspicuous. Right. Yeah, Egyptian builders.
Yes.
Crap, but
Crap line.
yeah. All those feathers and he still can't fly. Like I say, it's like,
Yeah.
you are. I mean, not now, James.
Just get us away from the helicopter.
He just dropped in for a quick bite.
Oh, yes. I forgot
Pretty
about that.
obvious, but yeah.
Yes.
The bloke looking at his bottles, the lotus comes out to sea, and then Roger does the fish drop.
I know.
That is,
Now,
I like that.
Christopher Wood, who wrote the script, that was improvised on set.
Okay.
And Christopher Wood hated it when
Yeah.
he saw the finished article. Said he would never have written it into the script.
Well,
I don't mind it. I think it's
I
all right.
really like it.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah,
I'm all right with it.
it's just the right look because it's so over. It's a bloody car coming out of the
I know,
sea for crying out
it's
loud.
all
So,
ridiculous.
yeah,
You know? Yes,
yeah. No, I like that. What's the matter, sailor? Never seen a major taking a shower before. Oh, how does that grab you?
Yes.
He says as the magnets grabbed him.
I like the way Jaws sort of hangs on, does that as
Yeah.
he's doing by the teeth. Just like,
no.
you know.
Yeah, that's it. And then, the best closing line in a movie ever, keeping the British end up, so.
So, a lot of
Yeah.
gags. A lot of gags in this movie. A lot of gags.
Aye.
A lot of gags, foot dads.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
I've done 8.
Have you?
Yeah. Maybe some of the corniness of them, maybe that's a bit generous, but.
Well, now see, I'm now questioning my vote
Okay.
because I put a 9.
Whoa!
Well, I did like the way Roger was with Naomi,
Yeah.
which I think he plays quite well. But on reflection, some of them are a bit cringe, aren't they? Maybe I'll go 8 then.
You don't have to.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I think, yeah, maybe I was a bit high there.
I just,
Maybe
and
I was
I
high.
kind of look when we do gags, it is more like, what did they get the balance right? And I think they absolutely did with this.
There
I
do need to
love
be gags in a Bond film,
Yeah,
you know, yeah.
It doesn't turn it into a spoof or
No.
but yeah, gags are plenty in this one.
And that leaves us with girls,
Yeah.
where we have our leading lady in this movie is Barbara Bach,
Yeah.
as Mrs. Ringo Starr, of
Yeah,
course,
I know.
who is Triple X, Major Massiva, a much better developed character, certainly than the ones we've seen in the last couple of
Crikey,
movies.
I mean, what have we had? Yeah, we've
had
had
some shockers,
Oh, we've
really.
had low for 3 now.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
God,
So nice to see a sort of much better developed character, I think, in this one. I think they could have done a little bit more with her.
Yeah.
You don't really see her in the full ass kicking that you would
I
see
guess
today. But she is a bit better than some of the girls we've seen.
Yeah, definitely the material she's got to
Yeah.
work with, just being an agent, being a adversary and ally of Bond's. That whole thing about him killing Michael Billington.
Yeah,
Sergei.
and her introduction is good, isn't it? To actually see her, yeah.
Reaction to that when she gets told about it. So yeah, you see, there's for a Bond girl, quite a fair bit of depth to this character, and really good performance. Really,
Yeah. What are you saying?
I'm gonna go 8.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Well, now this may be because I know what's coming.
Oh.
I think she's a prototype for some of the
Okay.
kick-ass Bond girls we see
Yeah,
later on, but
this
maybe
is-
not quite as fully developed. But a damn sight better than some of what we've seen up to now.
Okay.
Goodnight was pretty embarrassing at times, and Solitaire was pretty embarrassing at times. Rosie Carver in Live and Let Die. So I've gone 6 on the basis that she's better than them, but not quite as good as what is going to come.
Okay, and I think that's that's telling with our the way that we're the
way
difference
we're doing this.
between
Yeah.
the guy that's watched it a million times and the guy that's watching it the first time is that
The tragic case who's word perfect on the.
your word.
Had
But yeah, I've only got what's come before to compare
Yeah,
against.
exactly.
So, did you said 6?
So I've gone 6, you've gone 8.
8. All
And
right.
that is
Time for maths.
our scores. It's time for maths. We're going to do some maths, and we'll be back in a moment with the BondBoard and what could be a very high score. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We have done maths, and it is exciting maths.
Yeah.
Because...
Hang on, I'm just gonna put all the.
Oh yeah,
did you do that
sorry.
now? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you normally do.
They're
Here are
up on
all
the
previous
screen there.
scores. And at the top of the leaderboard, you will notice, ever since episode 3, has been the fabulous and wonderful Goldfinger, which was 191 out of 240, was its combined score from me and Tom. That is the target to beat. We thought this was a high score. We've done the maths, redone the maths, and redone the maths. But to make this absolutely right. So,
You've scored it.
I've inputted your data. Ooh. I've scored it 96. Tom has scored it
102.
102, a mammoth score, which means The Spy Who Loved Me scores 198 and goes to the top of the leaderboard. And I will be honest, that is going to take some shifting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying don't watch any of the next 15 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying 198 is a hell of a score.
Yeah.
That's big. From Russia with Love, only got 184, look. Thunderball 186. I mean, those were big scores, but this... Wow, 198, that's a thumping big score. And you love this movie.
I loved it.
102 out of 120.
Yeah.
That's your biggest score by a mile.
So, it's maybe my new favourite movie of all movies.
Well, like Alan Partridge said, it's the greatest movie ever made.
Flash
So-
Gordon.
Oh yeah, I know you've got a
yeah.
thing about Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
But anyway. So there we are. Huge news. So join us next time when we will be talking about the next movie, the 11th movie in the film, which is Moonraker. Moonraker. Sorry, it's been a long evening. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember, please subscribe. We need what we need. It's great to have people watching. We love that, but we do need subscribers. So please hit the subscribe button. Yeah. We promise we won't spam you with loads of rubbish. Just high quality, very professional content like this. And also please follow us on Twitter or X at Review Kill Show, and we would love to hear your feedback on either of those channels. Thank you very, very, very much for watching, and we will see you next time. I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers.